A very good morning to all the students of class 11th. And students, today we will be studying this chapter number 4 of your NCERT book, that is executive. But according to the new revised syllabus uploaded by CBSE for this particular session, this is chapter number 3 in your book, that is executive, and we will be studying only few topics of this particular chapter that I shall let you know. So for this particular lecture, this is going to be an introductory lecture where I shall be talking about the meaning, functions and significance of executive as one of the important organs of the government. So we'll start this chapter with an introduction to the organs of the government and how the powers are being distributed and decentralized, and how balance is maintained between these three organs of the government. So you'll understand the meaning of the government and how there are three organs, important organs of the governments, and also see the coordination amongst them. But particularly in this chapter, we'll be talking about executive only. So these are the notes you can see here. This is executive part first. So the organs of the government, there are three important organs of the government. Whenever we talk about the government, it does not mean we are talking about only president or only prime minister or only council of ministers. It does not mean only few people. Here government means where we include the executive organ, the legislative and the judiciary. Their functions are different, their significance are different, but they work in a coordination together for the proper governance. That is why we call it government, okay, because they have to govern our country according to the provisions written down in the constitutions. So there are various provisions written down in the constitution for the executive branch, for the legislative and judiciary, how they balance power, that is check and balance, how a particular branch or a organ cannot misuse its power because there is a other organ which will keep check and balance on its power. So the power has been distribution in such a way. So all these three include the government. So today we will be starting the chapter which will be talking only about the executive organ of the government. So we'll see what do we understand by executive and what are the works and functions performed by the executive for the governance or for the government. So starting with the definition, as we will be having a separate chapter on legislative and judiciary, so mostly I will focus here on executive as the first organ of the government. And from the junior classes you must have read all this, the three organs of the government. So the very basic and the first question is, if anyone asks you what do you understand by executive, so you can say a body of persons that looks after the implementation of rules and regulations in the actual practice. You have to focus on this word, actual practice. It means the laws are created in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, through passing various laws, bills and signed by the president, but ultimately it comes to implementation. Whatever laws, new policies are being framed by the legislatures, that is implemented by executive. It means the basic function of executive is to implement the rules and regulations into actual practice, that how they will be coming into practice into a society. This is the work of the executive. Although the laws are created by the legislatures, but those laws are executed or implemented by executive. That is the name. Executive means to execute something, okay. The meaning will be same. The other definitions is the organ of the government that primarily looks after the functions of the implementation and administration. That particular organ of the government, as I said, there are three organs: executive, legislative and judiciary. They have different functions to perform. So here we are talking about executive. So when we talk about executive, their primary goals or primary work or the functions is to implementation and administration is called executive. So they have to look after the implementation and administrations of the various laws. That is called executive. Okay, so let's take the introduction from an NCERT book. It is interesting and you will be able to understand it better. This I told you so that you can have a rough idea in your mind that what do you understand by executive. It is a part of the organ of the government. There are three organs which with coordination with each other, they form government. So we'll talk now. So then I told you the definition so that you can understand the meaning of executive. Now let's see it from an NCERT book also. So you can see this is the first page of a chapter, the introduction part, and here you will find legislature, executive, judiciary are the three organs of the government. Very important. Together they perform the functions of the government. It means in coordination they together work for the proper smooth functioning of the government. It does not mean their functions are same. Their functions are different from each other, but when they work together in coordination, they perform the various functions of the government smoothly. They maintain laws and order and look after the welfare of the people. So if we talk about the overall functions of these three organs, the basic function of any government is that to maintain law and order according to the constitution and look after the welfare of the people. This term looks so small, welfare of the people. In this we talk about the economic, political, social changes and requirements and development of the people. Okay, so there are a lot of policies which have to be worked out and implemented for the welfare of the people. So these all are the work of the government, and when I say government, it means three organs of the government: executive, legislatures and judiciary. So we will talking about, now in this chapter we are only talking about executive. The constitution ensures that the work in coordination with each other and maintain a balance. The constitution has put up various provisions in place which helps these organs to work together in coordination and with each other and maintain a balance among themselves. So otherwise, if the provisions were not mentioned in the constitution, there would have been various problems between these three organs. But very clear-cut instructions and the powers have been distributed between these three organs, so they keep a check and balance on each other, so none of the organ can misuse its powers. So that is why it's written, you can understand now. They work in coordination with each other and maintain a balance among themselves because of the constitution. In a parliamentary system like India, we have a parliamentary system where head of the state is president and head of the government is prime minister. We have parliamentary system. Executive and legislature are interdependent. When we talk about the parliamentary system, like a system we follow in India, we have parliament, we have Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Okay, so in this type of system, when we talk about executive and legislature, they both are interdependent on each other. One cannot stay without the other. It means they are dependent on each other. The legislature controls the executive. It means they check and power, as I told you about the balance, maintaining balance. So the legislature controls the executive and in turn controlled by the executive. So legislature will control executive and in turn executive will also have a control over legislation. We'll talk about various provisions which prove this thing later on. In this chapter we shall discuss the composition. So in this particular chapter only, now focusing on only executive branch, we'll talk about the composition of executive, structure and functions of the executive organ of the government. So we'll have the complete deep knowledge of the executive in this particular chapter. This chapter will also tell you about the changes which has occurred in the recent times due to the political parties. We'll also see some of the coming up changes because of the political parties. After reading this chapter, you will be able to understand these points, will be able to get into your mind. That is, make a distinction between the parliamentary and the presidential executive. There are various three types of executive which we will be studying: parliamentary, semi-presidential and presidential. So you will be able to differentiate between different executives. Like in India we have parliamentary executive, in US we have presidential executive. Executive here means a person or a government or a body of people who execute laws, okay, or implement laws. So in India we have parliamentary executive. Okay, so we will see the differentiation. Understand the constitutional position of the President of India. We'll understand what is the constitutional position of President of India, as we call him the nominal head. But if you go to US, there the president is the real head, the powerful person. All the powers are centralized with the president because they are having the presidential executive. Know the composition and functioning of the Council of Ministers. We will also talk about here the composition and functioning of the Council of Ministers and importance of Prime Minister. So we will be talking about, when we are talking about the government and executive, and these Council of Ministers and Prime Ministers are the important part of executive. So that is why we will be talking about the functions and how, what is the composition of Council of Ministers and Prime Minister. And then at last we will also understand in this chapter that the importance of functioning of administrative machinery. Okay. So as I told you, in this chapter we will be talking about the structure, composition and functions of the executive. So we are starting with the structure. Let's see what is the structure of executive. When we are talking about the government and a organ of the government, that is executive, what is the structure of the executive? Okay, so if we talk about the structure, it is divided into two parts: political executive and permanent executive. But you have to keep in mind, this is the same organ of the government, but within that organ there is a division where one side we have political executive and permanent executive. So let's see who are the political executive and permanent executive. I have just made a flowchart, then I will read it from you NCERT book also. If we talk about the political executive, these are the ministers, council of minister, prime minister or president. These people are a part of the executive, which are political executive, because we have elected these people as our representatives, and they are there for the fixed tenure, that is 5 year only. Because any prime minister, any chief minister or any council of minister, they have a fixed tenure of 5 years. After that they again have to contest election in case they have to be the political executive, or if they have to be still the governing government. So this is also called temporary executive. You have to remember temporary because they are only for 5 years. But on the other hand, we have permanent executive, and these are the people who are well skilled and trained and well prepared people, that is officers and civil servants. They give the proper exams, they go under the various trainings, so they are very skilled servants of the government, I would say, and these are officials and civil servants. So these are what is the work of these ministers, I would say. Policy makers, head of the executive, they are called as the head of the executive. President, prime minister, chancellor, these are the head of the executive. If we are following a presidential form of government, then president will be head. But like in our country, this is parliamentary form of government, their prime minister is the head of the government. In some countries there are chancellors as the head of the government. So when we talk about political executive, they are temporary. These people, they are the policy makers. But on the other hand, to support these people, because these are the elected representatives of the government, they are not well skilled and well trained to perform various activities. So for them, these are the people are appointed by the government, who are called the permanent executive. They are the officers and civil servants, like we have IAS officers and we have district magistrate at the district level. Such people are under this permanent executive. They execute the plans which are drawn out by the legislature. So they help the political executive to frame or draft policies, whatever the policies I have to be drafted or already drafted by the legislature, how they should be properly executed between the people. That is all work is done by the permanent executive for the political. It means they have to work in the coordination. But one difference which you have to remember, they are temporary and they are permanent, because once this person has been selected as an officer or a civil servant by the government, he will be there as a permanent servant. Okay, so helps political executive to frame, draft policies and execute policies of the government day-to-day administration. Whatever the work of the administration is required to work in a smooth way, whatever norms are to be put in place for the proper implementations of the laws, that all work is done by the permanent executives on behalf of political executives. Although they have the power, but they do not have the skill and training to perform these activities which these people, officers and civil servants, have. So this is a structure of the executive, how it works when we talk about the implementation of various provisions, policies of the government. Okay, now to sum up, if we whatever we have understood till now, if we sum up that, so the question would arise, what is an executive? So the branch or organ of the government which is responsible for putting plans or laws into effect, for implementation. They have given the example here. Leaders will make policies and the officers will implement. This is very simple. If we talk about the structure of this executive, it means the leaders means PM, CM, Prime Minister or Council of Ministers. They will make policies with the help of the legislature, as they are also the part of legislature. And the officers, these are the permanent executive, they will implement these policies. Who are the leaders? Leaders are political executive like CM, PM, President. These are these are temporary executives. But if we talk about civil servants or officers, they are the permanent executives. This is the overall what we have learned till now. Let's read some examples from your NCERT book now. So you can see what is an executive. The same thing which I have explained you. Who is in charge of the administration of your school? Who is in charge of administration of a school? Who takes important decisions in the school or a university? If we talk about our school, like principal ma'am, coordinator ma'am, these are the top administrators who make various laws or various rules for the school. And it is then they discuss with us and we try to implement those plans and policies for you all, so that there can be a smooth functioning of our school, of the activities within our school. So for example, you can see a lot of activities like these days you are coming to submit the notebooks. Okay, you are coming to submit your art integrated projects or various projects relating to the exams. So there has been a proper management where ma'am has made a schedule, and according to the schedule we have sent it to your class groups, and accordingly with the time frame you are coming and you are submitting your notebooks or projects following all the COVID protocols. So everything is managed properly. Accordingly your notebooks have been collected, then we have to check your notebooks subject wise, and again it shall be returned to you. So what is this? See, ma'am had made a law or the plan that will be having the notebook checking, but this plan has been executed. Okay, so this is the way how executives work. So who takes important decision in the school or a university? If any organization like a school, some office holder have to take decisions and implement those decisions, we can this activity administration or management. But administration requires a body at the top. See, every administration requires a body at the top that will take policy decisions, because first of all decisions are to be taken, and later on with the help of the other part, the plan is to be executed, or big decisions to supervise or coordinate the routine administration functioning. You may have heard of the executives of the big companies. So same thing goes with the companies also. At the top level there are few executives like CEO that take the decisions, and the rest of the team of the executives, they help to execute the plans. Like in the form of the government, if we talk, the structure of the executive is where we have permanent executives and we have temporary executives. Temporary executives are the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, who have a fixed tenure of 5 years. So they plan the laws, but it is being executed by the permanent executives, that is the civil servants. In the case of government also, nobody may take policy decisions and decide about rules. So when we talk about the government also, one body is there, that is executive, that is to take policy decisions and decide about rules and regulation, while the other one would be a charge of implementing. It means one is the responsibility of one body is to frame laws, that is legislature, but the responsibility of the other organ, that is executive, is to implement those rules which are framed by the legislature. The organ of the government that primarily looks after the functions of implementation and administration is called executive. So they have given the definition here. The organ of the government that primarily looks after the functions of implementation and administration is called the executive. And now let's see what are the principal functions. Now after the structure, we have understood the structure, that is the permanent executives and political executives. Now let's see about the functions of the executive. Executive is a branch of government responsible for implementation of laws and policies adopted by the legislature. Whatever the policies and plans are adopted by the legislature, those laws are implemented by the executive. So the executive is often involved in framing of the policy. The official designations of the executive vary from country to country. Some countries have presidents, as I have told you. Some countries, if we talk about the executive, in some countries there are presidents, while some have chancellors. The executive branch is not just about president, prime minister or ministers. It is also extended to the administration machinery, that is civil servants. While the head of the government and their ministers, saddled with overall responsibility of the government policies, are together known as political executives. Whatever I have explained you, it means whoever are the head of the government, that is the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, they have the responsibility of implementing various policies and plans drawn out by the legislature. But there are also the other people, those are called the permanent executive, and they are called the civil servants. So with the coordination of these two, there is a proper functioning of the executive. Those responsible for the day-to-day administration are called the permanent executive. Okay.